It was a cold December night in Lahore when Hamza finally moved into his new apartment. The building was old, built decades ago, with dimly lit hallways and walls stained with time. He didn't mind, he had found a place for cheap, and as a struggling freelancer, he couldn't afford to be picky. The landlord, an elderly man with tired eyes, had only given him one warning. Don't open the door if someone knocks after midnight. Hamza had chuckled, thinking it was some superstitious nonsense. But the way the landlord said it, with a hint of fear in his voice, made him uneasy. His first few nights. But then, on the fifth night, the knocking started. At first, it was faint, almost like a trick of his mind. He glanced at the clock, 12:07 a.m. Remembering the landlord's warning, he ignored it. The knocking grew louder. It wasn't a friendly tap, it was urgent, desperate. Bang! 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 He sat frozen on his bed, staring at the door. Who would be visiting at this hour? He tried to reason with himself, maybe a lost neighbor, maybe a drunk passerby. But a strange feeling settled in his chest. The knocking stopped. Silence. Then came the whisper. Open the door, please. The voice was weak, almost pleading. A woman's. The silence stretched for what felt like hours before he finally fell into an uneasy sleep. The next morning, he asked the landlord about the knocking. The old man's face turned pale. You heard it, he whispered. Hamza nodded. The landlord sighed, rubbing his temples. Years ago, a woman lived in your apartment. She was engaged to a man who vanished without a trace. She went mad with grief, and one night, she walked out of her home and never returned. They found her body weeks later, but some say her soul still lingers, knocking on doors, looking for him. Hamza felt a shiver crawl up his spine. He wanted to dismiss it as an old folk tale, but deep down, he knew what he had heard. But at exactly 12:07 a.m., the knocking began again. Please, open the door. I found him. A wave of terror washed over Hamza. The air felt heavy, suffocating. He reached for his phone to call someone, anyone, but the screen flickered, then went black. The lights in his room dimmed, casting eerie shadows. The knocking continued. Then, something slid under the door. A piece of paper. With shaking hands, he picked it up.